What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today is a green day in the cryptocurrency market. We have most of the market up 2, 3, 4%. Bitcoin hovering up here above $39,000. And well, kind of a continuation of what we said yesterday, right? That we'd have a couple of points to the downside one day, a couple of points to the upside the next day, because we've just been kind of stuck in a range in here. Last night I posted over here on Twitter, as a reminder, reduced volatility and boring price action is what you get 85% or more of the time in crypto. Red periods far exceed green periods, and to enjoy the exciting moments, this is the stuff we've always had to endure. And I tried to color coordinate what it's really been like for almost a year, 331 days, particularly over here on the XRP price chart, showing how often the exciting moments last and how long the boring consolidation periods last. We talked about this a lot in the bear market that, when these times come, they don't last long, they go quickly, and then boom, right back to the boring stuff all over again. And in cryptocurrency, we spend the vast majority of our time in these consolidation periods, which is why when price action was really exciting and greed was all over the place, I said, this is not normal. We are usually a fearful market. And these are the types of things I'm referring to. When we're in those exciting moments, they just don't last very long. Then we have to consolidate for a much longer period of time. From what I have here, right here on this screen, the green time periods of where price action was really moving up for the XRP price chart accounts for a total of 42 days, 42 out of 331, which means 289 of these days were spent in time periods like we're in right now. 42 days of excitement, 289 days of boredom. And each time the next leg up comes, it comes quickly. And we can see in each of these times, there was never a period that lasted longer than 12 days. But most of these consolidation periods, 102 days, 42 days, 20, 61, 64, but none of these green time periods ever lasted longer than 12. So I always have to keep that in the back of my mind, and you'll notice that whenever prices start going up really fast, that you start kind of seeing me get my caution signals on a little bit. Like, hey, these things don't last forever, they don't last very long, then we go right back into this all over again. And so for those who are kind of going through this for the first time, you can just see right here in the last year, I've had this YouTube channel throughout this entire time right here, how many times we've had to go through time periods like we're going through right now, creating videos every day, getting through it, just pushing our way through each consolidation period till finally that next big set of green candles shows up. And there will always be a special place in my heart for the people who stuck around and went through this whole thing. And this is what we were talking about in yesterday's video, because the prices were down and stayed flat for such a long time. And when we look at what's been happening right in here right now, it doesn't even compare to what we've had to go through in the past. So these are things that I've seen before, I've been through before. They're not fun. There's nothing fun about going through this stuff. It's the green times that are fun. But experience has paid dividends in knowing that this is just part of the game. And even when we look at XRP on the bigger time frame, taking it all the way back to 2013, so we're looking at like 8 years of data right here to show how much time was spent in these red periods or these consolidation periods compared to how much time was spent in the actual surges to the upside. Well, if we look at from the bottom right back here to right here, that's a 30,000% rise. How much of that time was spent in consolidation versus how much time was spent actual rising? There you go. Mostly red. That's how most of your time is spent in these markets. And each time it moves to the upside, it happens very quickly. I'm sure we've all heard of flags and flagpoles at this point, or bull flags and bear flags, but that's really how you kind of have to think about it, right? They plant a big flag, and then you go sideways for a long time. And in these flags, the flagpole essentially goes straight up, and then you go sideways for a very long time. And that's just what we're seeing happening right now in our current time period. And I know that after we've been in these things for a little while, going on 64, 65 days at this point, well, we've been through this before. I remember how sentiment gets during each of these time periods. People are beaten down. The good news is we're 65 days into it. That's pretty good. That's pretty average for what we see happen before things can start moving again. And one of the things we talked about a lot in the bear market is that this market just knows how to shake people out. And it knows how to do it also without having prices go down further. time is a really good mechanism to shake people out. You create boredom, frustration, anger, depression, and eventually people just say, you know what, this is not what I ever thought it was. I'm out. Or one of the ones that we see happen most often is we get all of that. We get the boredom, anger, frustration, and depression, and the doubt, and then the prices can still stay flat. There's people who can still handle it even if the prices stay flat. But then you throw in one more element: jealousy. What would happen if we started seeing something like, say, Ethereum go on to 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, and everything else stayed flat at that time? What would happen? Well, we know exactly what would happen. People chase green candles, and that's how you can get shaken out of your position as well. It's from jealousy stacked on top of anger, depression, frustration, boredom. And these are typically a lot of the mistakes that happen to people who come new into the markets. And I think we all kind of go through those growing pains when we come into crypto or we come into any markets. So what we're here for is we're here for rewards, and we're here for rewards right now. Why would I sit in something that's just flat when I look over here and I see this other one totally going up? And not only that, everybody around me on Twitter is posting that, yeah, man, rocket ships, I'm having a great time. And yet here I am being a dingus sitting in this flat, boring one while everybody on Twitter is having a blast chasing this other thing. Kind of like what we saw happen with Doge, right? It went kind of viral. It became like this pop culture thing to be in Doge. But I learned a lot of those lessons, during the last bull run. My first experience to really go through crypto and how crazy volatile cryptocurrencies can be, the big swings up, the big swings down. And you can see that our swing down, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we see happen all the time in this market. If you get those 2, 3, 400% rises, you're typically going to get a 50, 60% pullback afterwards. And when I went through the 2017 bull run, I tried to play a lot of that stuff, doing the quick time frame things of jumping around, getting into this, getting out of that. And a lot of times what happens, you just end up getting wrong-footed. But when the 2017 bull run was all said and done, I realized the people who did the absolute best in the market were the people who were just hodlers, the people who just held through all of the volatility. They never got wrong-footed because all they were doing was just holding the whole time. And then when it was all said and done and everything was up thousands of percentage points, they were good to go. And I made a decision with myself during the bear market in 2018, 19, and 20 that was the strategy I was going to go with. That whenever we got these big, huge falls and these dips, that while scary, they're normal. In this market, they're normal. In the stock market, that type of fall, the world is falling apart. The sky is falling. We're all doomed. But in this market, it's very normal. And it's not just normal in 2021 or in 2020. This is how the market's always been for cryptocurrency. These huge, massive rises come at the cost of stomaching the big falls. And then, as you can even see on the chart, after the big fall happens, it tends to just kind of torture you for a little while. And even throughout the 8-year chart we have right here for the Ripple XRP price chart, you can see that's precisely how it works even on big time frames. And so for me, it became this, well, how am I going to, take advantage of that and understand that and set my expectations to be able to be successful in this type of environment? And what I told myself was that, hey, whenever we're getting these red time periods and prices are really low, I'm just going to accumulate them while they're really low and wait for the next leg. I had to set a time preference on myself to say, this isn't going to happen immediately. When you get into crypto in the first place, like I did in 2017, I got in on the first half of 2017. So it was kind of there in that first alt season and then rode through all the other things that happened throughout 2017. But I had those expectations of how can I do all of this really quick? How can I make a ton of money really fast? And when the bull run was all said and done, I was there from Bitcoin from, $1,800 all the way up to $20,000. I looked back on it and said, how would I have played all of that differently? And the answer was so simple. The answer was, I wish I would have just hodled through it all. And so that's the type of messaging I bring on my YouTube channel because that's the strategy I'm going with during this bull run. I know the price swings up are fun. I know the price pullbacks are painful, but this is all a cost of doing business in the cryptocurrency market. And while I'm humbled by it, I'm truly humbled by it. I hear it all the time, right? You're from the future. How did you know this was going to happen? And it's simply just because we keep doing the exact same thing over and over again. And you can kind of tell how the sentiment's going to behave in here. What happens is when the price goes up, we see the same thing on Twitter every time. I can't stop buying. That's the one I see the most every single time the price goes up. I can't stop buying. I'm never going to get another opportunity. We're going to $100 when the price gets high, right? Then, after they say, I can't stop buying, the price always pulls back. And then people get way too scared to buy the bottoms. They will buy the heck out of the price being higher, but they won't touch it when the price comes back down lower. Why do I say that? It's because it's what has happened in every single one of these. They're all exactly the same. The sentiment happens the same way. Extreme euphoria and excitement comes in, and then depression and panic comes in. Instead, I learned the lesson from an emotional perspective that I have to do everything the opposite. When the market is really excited and going up super high, I get nervous and uncomfortable and say, I know what typically comes next. And typically, what comes next after everybody's saying, I can't stop buying, is that the price is pulled back. People don't say, think about on Twitter right now, are you seeing anybody posting, I can't stop buying XRP while the prices are low? Of course not. They only do that when the prices are high. So I get bullish and I get excited because I can see that that sentiment, that euphoria or irrational expectations have waned and that the market has really started to settle and all the people that have unrealistic expectations have really kind of been shaken out. The market has really kind of found its equilibrium and its balance. And so as we have a day like today, which is again a continuation of what we've been seeing all week, where the market is still relatively still, right? It's up a couple points here and there, but for the most part, the market is pretty flat, up 1%. And I just thought it would be a really good reminder to remember what this market is actually like. We get caught up in these really exciting moments and forget what the market is like during most of the time. And during most of the time, it's in consolidation, and it's about keeping a level head through those time periods till the next exciting moment comes. Because even our last consolidation period right in here before we had our big breakout was just as long as what we've had right now. It literally was the exact same amount of time as we're at this exact moment. So we've been through this stuff before and we were in it already. Just in 2021, we've gone through consolidation periods that have lasted this long. And we, of course, have been through consolidation periods that have lasted even longer. And what's happening right now is nothing out of the ordinary, and it's actually completely ordinary and normal. And if you want to see how normal it is of where the price action is for the total altcoin market cap, this is something we haven't talked about in quite a while. But during this whole time period, we were watching the growth rate of the cryptocurrency market in comparison to when the growth started in the 2016 and 2017 altcoin bull run or Bitcoin and cryptocurrency bull run. And we had grabbed this fractal and we were constantly sitting here putting this on here and saying, look, we see a lot of similarities happening in here in regards to the pops to the upside, the growth rate happening at the same place, the corrections coming in at the same place, the rise is up, and well, look at where the market is in relation to 2016 and 2017. Prices are right where they're supposed to be compared to our last bull run. I'm not saying that this bull run is going to go as high as it did in 2016 and in 2017, but for the OGs in this channel who have watched us go through this stuff so much and watched the growth rate, we were talking all about it back in here during this correction back in September, October, and November, watching the growth. Look at where we are. We're right where we were during the last bull run at this time. So I know there's a lot of people in this market going through this fearful stuff for the very first time, considering this market's been in greed since November. First time being in fear and prolonged fear in 7 months. And sometimes when expectations get irrationally pushed in a specific direction, we have to kind of be brought back to reality of what is the market really like? And this is what it's really like. The good news is, would you rather be in this time period right now, only a couple of days into it, or would you rather be 65 days into it? I personally, based on history, would rather be 65 days into this thing than just a couple. And I hope that helped put things into a little bit of a better perspective for everybody, because I know what it's like to be this deep into it, this many days into it, and what happens to sentiment during these time periods. But it's what happens every single time. So this isn't anything unusual. And I hope I was able to represent that with charts today so everybody could see. But another day of consolidation. Hopefully later today we get something different, or tomorrow. But otherwise, I just sit back patiently waiting for that to come. So I'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. If you're looking for something to do, of course, you could check out my website, bcbacker.com. which is my course where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, the different altcoin market cycles, tying them all together to show where they've happened in the past. Talk about a lot of stuff in here on setting up your own charts and your own indicators, and I do have a video in there completely dedicated to emotions, because that's what a lot of all of this is. I do talk about mathematics and percentages. I talk about my personal exit plans, and you could check all of this out over here on bcbacker.com. You could follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. Now, I should have mentioned this yesterday, but I'll mention it right now. There's only 2 hours left of this thing, so depending on what time you watch this video, the sale may be over, but till 8:59 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Unstoppable Domains is running a promotion that for every dollar you spend on domain purchases this morning today, you will get $3 in promo credits. So if you buy a domain for $40, you get $120 in promo credits. That is not going to be relevant after an hour and a half after this video is released. So you have the opportunity to get that by visiting the affiliate link in the description of this video. Again, that's only good for about an hour, hour and a half after this video is released. Otherwise, there's bcbacker.com, there's my Twitter, and I hope that you have a great day. But all right, that's it. That's going to wrap it up for this one. I hope that you're having a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.